What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we are going to be doing day 2 of this mock draft with trades. So yes, it's going to be rounds 2 and 3. God help me. We are going to get right into this. Let's have some fun. If you're new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Of course, we're going to be doing a quick recap of round 1, but you should probably check out round 1 in the first place to get all the live reactions. This is a live mock draft as well. So again, feel free to take some of my reasoning with a pinch of salt. Actually, don't. Feel free to be a jerk to me. It's very entertaining. It's good to have good football discourse. If I miss something, please point it out. Being able to make sure I don't make the same mistake twice helps out both you and me. So don't worry about it. Let's get right into this. Let's have some fun. So below my face is my board. Below that are all the links to all the glorious advantages you have by being able to watch this video, including that beloved underdog fantasy code. So everybody else has one. If you want to support a college kid, feel free to do so. Sends me $50, you get to match your own deposit, and then you get to bet. So, just rather than watching me lose my money, you can end up potentially gaining some extra dollars on your side. Lots of trades again. You're going to have to go and watch that video to see the breakdowns on that because unfortunately my computer restarted and I went through the hell of rebuilding this entire thing. So, regardless, yeah, we had trades in the top 2. And then I know some Bears fans, not particularly too pleased about what happened here. A lot of them are, but some of them got really butthurt. Of course, we ended up trading up to the end of round 1 for Chop Robinson as well. Another trade happened right here for the Raiders to jump their in-division rivals in the Chargers to be able to grab the player I would have taken for the Chargers. People still don't understand the logic of being able to disarm your beloved franchises in your own division, but it is what it is. Had a nice little jump up right here as well. These are results of trade backs, and then this was also a quick little jump up with the Steelers. And yeah, I mean, right here, okay, my one placeholder value is for Dwight McLaughlin, my number 4 corner in the draft, my number 23 player. So PFF, even though they have a billion players, still does not have my beloved Dwight McLaughlin on the table. So yeah, we had a little trade up here as well as here. And now we are here at pick number 33. So without the proper corners on the board, I wanted to move back. I know there's going to be a little bit of a tax in terms of, you could say a 5th-year tax. And it's well deserving. I mean, maybe we should have gotten a 3rd-round pick out of moving back, a couple spots. But I elected to go for a early 4th-round pick, essentially pick 101, which I think was the first pick in the 4th round. So essentially it is a 3rd-round pick. But, it is what it is. I'm thinking Nate Wiggins is the right option here. The more I look at the corners of this class, there's not many that stand out as potential superstars. I don't think Nate Wiggins will necessarily survive the AFC North because I don't think he can handle the bigger, more physical receivers. But at the same time, the majority of the tape that I see of him versus very physical receivers is versus Johnny Wilson, who's essentially a tight end who plays unbelievably well. Obviously, y'all know he's my number 5 player in the class. I just don't think many people could play the way Johnny Wilson does. So I do think Nate Wiggins, especially the way that he's eager to assist in the run game as well, he'd be a good fit on Baltimore. I used to criticize the pick, but I think I'm coming around to it now. Another good option is Kamari Lassiter because, it's my dream fit for Kamari to go here. But more importantly, Kamari is just, I feel he's built a little bit better for the AFC North, but Nate Wiggins is much more polished, and I don't think Ravens have a lot of luxury in terms of wiggle room. They don't have a bunch of starting quality corners, and they're developing guys who will step into that role. You have Marlon Humphrey primarily. I love B. Steve, but as much of an SMU homer as I am as a student there, can't be over the moon about him. Nate Wiggins has more talent. Again, he does have that run stuffing ability that I do like. At pick number 34 for the Cardinals. We have so far, we moved back, and look how many picks we have today. Holy Toledo. I'm going to try to move up with some of them because I do not want to take that many picks for y'all. We got Chris Jenkins as well as in a move back. We ended up getting it in Kool-Aid McKinstry. So we got a lot of good talent on our team. That's a good sign. Now, looking at other choices, I do think edge rushers on the short list now. It's unfortunate, but that's the case. I used to go double corners here because, again, I think the corner class is fairly limited. But at the same time, I think we'll be okay. I know a lot of people want to go after a wide receiver. Looking at the ones available, I already know there's going to be some good dudes there at pick number 66. A very nice player there, probably at 69. Like, there's going to be good players. I don't know if I could say the same about the edge rushing group because I do think there is a semi drop off, besides the fact I have two guys who are not even listed on here. But I do think when you look at the talent levels of Braylon Trice and Leatu Latu, you have to start understanding that these guys do bring a shit ton to the table. Same thing with JT Tuimoloau. I'm going to go Braylon Trice because he's higher on my board than Leatu Latu. But that being said, I mean, I understand why people love Leatu Latu. I'm waiting for a couple more games for me to grade him out because, for me, I continued watching his tape this year and I didn't feel as comfortable with it translating. That doesn't mean I'm 100% correct, again, until all the tape is watched. But at the very minimum, just going to be 100% with y'all. I just didn't really see it the way that a lot of other people are. But I do see some reps in there that are very translatable. It's just the consistency of NFL reps not fully there, while Braylon Trice is an absolute freak show. I actually watched Jordan Morgan yesterday because, especially for a pick like this where I think I will eventually go Jordan Morgan, I just saw that there was something so special about Braylon, and it got me back excited for Braylon again. He's a really good player. Statistically speaking, he's like playing at a little bit of a lower pressure rate, but at the same time, it's very hard to be back-to-back 30%ers because that was where he was last year, which is ridiculous. But for this selection, you could go tight end here with Jatavian. I don't think he's that good, but at the same time, this class is really ultra thin. You could look at Leatu Latu here, honestly. That wouldn't be an awful idea. Funnily enough, Leatu Latu had to medically retire and then came to UCLA. And then the edge rusher that is there in Jalen Phillips had to medically retire from UCLA and then go to Miami. It would be quite funny to go after that route. But, there's not many bad options you can go for this team. I will end up going Jordan Morgan. He has some really critical flaws, but I hope that Terran Armstead stays around one more year to train him. If he doesn't, Jordan Morgan's fine for a stopgap guy. I have a 3rd round grade on Jordan Morgan, solidified with yesterday's tape study. And for me, I think it's worth it on a team that doesn't have many holes to just try to plug it with someone like that. It's worth it. He has those high-end reps, and he's still coming back from an ACL tear. But there are some nuances to his game that I'm really hoping some mentorship there can end up fixing up. So we'll see what happens there. But Jordan Morgan, he's a quality player, and it's a very thin left tackle class, so I can't really say much there. But at pick number 36, we have the Bo Nix commanded Saints. So a big fan of where we are right now. I do think you can go Leatu Latu here. You can go Cam Kinchens. Either way, you're balling, right? I think Leatu Latu might be a little bit better of an investment because it's just in general, your return on investment for an edge rusher that has an extremely high ceiling when you do have Cam Jordan still there probably feels about right. So we'll go Leatu Latu at this point. At pick number 37, we have the Giants, who moved up to be able to select the one and only Drake May. Just a higher ceiling. He's going to be somebody who could really help out this squad. I've been hearing that sentiment for edge rusher, actually, and I totally understand where y'all are coming from. I do, because Aziz just hasn't been consistently there, even on the field. He's been injury prone here and there. I think we can move back. I'd prefer to move back here because we lost that 2nd round pick. We lost a lot of draft capital moving from 5 to 1. And you got a guy like Cameron Kinchens on the board who's a superstar. The next highest guy who's left on my board is still Christian Haynes, who I think is a beast. To be fair, this team could use that. Y'all could, if you want to keep Evan Neal at right tackle. Y'all still need help on the interior of the offensive line. I think there's too many fish to fry, and there's a lot of good guards. There's not a real reason to stay here. So I want to look for a team that's trying to potentially get a superstar safety. I mean, the Eagles, you do have a $2.5 million out on Kevin Byard next year. That is not a bad choice. It is not a bad choice at all. I am thinking about potentially moving up with, I mean, technically I could have done it with the Dolphins, potentially with the Bills eventually to grab JT Tuamalau because the Patriots just drafted Olu Fashanu, who, just got shellacked by JT Tuamalau. Regardless, that's a little bit too far of a trade for me. That's where I'd really start feeling uncomfortable with the idea of potentially getting a top tier edge rusher. And again, we're essentially giving away one edge rusher at this pick. We could do it though. We could do it. Let's see what the price would be, right? If we were to move back, this is 37 to 53. So that's what, 16 spots? 16 spots, that would definitely require both of these selections. Zero doubt in my mind. But also, we did end up, look at that, we gave up picks in the next year's draft. So maybe we could get that next year third as well. I doubt it. I really do. Like maybe they'll toss in a player here. Actually, you know what? I might even ask for this, Justin Shorter. That's because I'm a Justin Shorter fan. Y'all can do that extra little negotiating. It will affect the mock draft right here. So the Giants are moving back 18 spots, and now we have more picks that we can enjoy. But this selection, because the Patriots are right there, and because there are teams that are within striking range, I'm going to go JT Tuamalau for the Bills. Could have went Cam Kitchens for a bigger need, but ultimately the edge rushing room isn't fully stacked with dudes the way that they kind of were a year ago. And at the end of the day, you probably want to continue making Bill Belichick feel bad, and especially since he just beat you, you're going to want to have the guy who's going to be the menace of the number 5 or number 6 overall pick in Olu Fashanu. So pretty entertaining right there. I think it's worth it. You can spend money elsewhere, but again, let's continue on. It's always fun to play around with ideas like that. For the Patriots, I'd consider moving back here as well. Again, we have Olu Fashanu that is on our team now, which is pretty baller. I think Xavier Legette would be intriguing. He had 1 reception for 20 yards this past week, but only played in the first quarter. He's a freak of nature, 6'3", 227, can run faster than pretty much everybody on planet Earth. So for me, I think I'd be willing to take that shot. I do want to see the quarterbacks that are still available right now. If I ever have Caleb Williams come out, it's my rule to have Shadur Sanders go back. It makes it a little bit more unique rather than having both of them in this whole time. You got Joe Milton here. I'm not seeing any quarterbacks I think are a direct translatable guy into this system. Maybe Quinn Ewers, because it is a lot of quick passes, and I think that's where Quinn really succeeds. Unfortunately, he likes to force passes here and there. But like for me, I think I'm pretty down. Quinn Ewers could be a really good pick. He could be a really good selection here. Looking at other teams that honestly might want to move up, because I do think Bill could be in the mood to move down. I don't see Xavier Legette being a target for any of these teams here. I think the Raiders could be aggressive once more. And I got enough crap from like one of the watchers about not taking a quarterback, like moving up and not taking one. And I get it. But at the same time, what you want to do is arm your franchise for success. And sometimes it's disarming other franchises. So for me, I think that in order to make a 6-spot trade up, I'm not going to try to disarm our franchise from our later picks this year. I think we want to trade a player here. And Jacoby Myers is an excellent player, so I'm not going to ever trade him away. But, I want to see if there's a good option here for us to send to the Patriots. And looking at it, I'm not seeing anything that's like really exciting. Because like maybe I want to send Byron Young, for example, but there's nothing here that's very exciting. I was hoping to see something that was a little bit more value driven, but I'm actually going to include in this a 2026 pick because I do think that the Raiders are going to try to keep theirs. It's going to be a 2026 third round pick. So we're going to keep it like that. So I already know that the Raiders fans are going to be like, what the hell? It's not going to affect this mock draft, bottom line, but we are going to be moving up here for Quinn Ewers because he does bring that upside that, Aiden O'Connell doesn't. And I like Aiden O'Connell. Like, he is a really, really solid quarterback. But at the same time, Quinn Ewers is, I don't think it's disputed. He's a better quarterback. I don't know if he comes out this year, but it would be very difficult to imagine that with Arch Manning going to be sitting there essentially 2 full years and only going to be able to play in his true junior year. Don't know if that's going to be how it rolls. But at pick number 39, we have the Green Bay Packers. And we went Joe Alt in the first round. God forbid there's still Cam Kitchens on the board. He's a beast, too. I really like him. I really do. But, it is what it is. At pick number 40, we have the Vikings, who traded back in the first round and still got Michael Penix. Now, for me, Josh Newton is a perfect player for this system. Kamari Lassiter just brings a ton of upside. But for me, I really want Josh Newton. I think he complements Mekhi Blackman very well. And you can't go wrong with getting more corners and more just defensive back help in this division, because Marvin Harrison and Brock Bowers just joined the Bears. And you kind of need to be able to handle them. Just saying. So Josh Newton's going to be a good addition there. At pick number 41 for the Chargers, we ended up going Cooper DeJean to be a versatile defensive back in our secondary. Now, the best move for me, honestly, you could go Kamari Lassiter to be a true corner, but I don't know if we're not that desperate. I do think an edge rusher is on a short list of items that we should be trying to target here. There's a lot of really good ones in this class. I literally have number 32 and 34 on my board that aren't even listed. So on top of the two guys here, Chris Braswell and Princely Umanmielen, that I really loved, Steve Linton as well. He's popping off to me too. ZTF, Justine Davis. There's a lot of really good edge rushers in this class. There's definitely some contingency plans that you could try to aim for. For me, I think this team would probably, with Kellen Moore loving tight ends so much, I think I'm going to opt for Jatavian. Just, you got to go one offense, one defense. And with Kellen Moore there, you want to continue investing in Justin Herbert. I don't know why y'all just can't get the W's. That is kind of confusing to me, but it is what it is. At pick number 42 for the Titans, we do not have our third round pick. I hope this thing is updated so that y'all have the 5th and 6th from Philly. Does it? I don't think it does. So RIP to that. Thanks, PFF. I mean, this was refreshed today. So PFF doing whatever they can to, screw us over here. But at pick number 42, we ended up selecting Talise Fuaga, my number 3 player in the class. Probably going to end up being my number 1 just because I love offensive linemen so much. But pretty much selected the best player in the class, pound for pound. And so that addressed the offense. I think Kamari Lassiter is a developmental guy. Your team is in a stage of development anyways. You need some time before you compete. So Kamari Lassiter could be a building block of that. You got the Eagles, who probably would have snagged Kamari Lassiter if you were on the board, because the Georgia Eagles or the Philadelphia Bulldogs, there we go. Regardless, here at pick number 43, we went after a wide receiver in Troy Franklin in round number 1. I'm looking at Princely Umanmielen as probably the best target for me. Besides that, I like the corners. Again, TJ Tampa is solid, but this is not a team that's that desperate for a corner. Just to be 100, they're not. Looking at other positions that you could target, I do, again, think safety with Kalen Bullock, who is right there at number 24 on my board, would be a very, very, very popular decision. Linebackers as well. There's a lot of really good ones in this class. Not necessarily guaranteed bona fide starter grade, but guys who can definitely fill in, and especially for the Eagles. I think they're better than Nicholas Moreau, better than Zach Cunningham, but that's why we have 2 other picks. So we'll leave it there. So tabling that, we are going to opt for the edge rusher here in Princely Umanmielen. I do think that Xavier Thomas and Tyler Barron are slightly better, but I think the ceiling on Princely and the trajectory at where he's going is special. His pressure rate, if I'm not mistaken, is number 2 in the country. Yeah, number 2. And that's insane. So, I think that he's totally worth developing. He's going to be a great fit there for Philly, and just somebody who I have a lot of passion for. He was somebody who was praying he ended up being edge number 13 for me, but for some reason, all of Florida's edge rushers and defensive linemen for that matter just played really slowly last year. Didn't make sense to me. But this year, they've turned it on, and I'm glad to see that. They're looking very, very, very talented, and that's exactly what they should be. So I'm glad to see it. Pick number 44 for the Patriots. We ended up moving back, and we're still going to get probably the guy who I was going to get there. Yep, Xavier Legette. Jalen Polk, I got to give him some credit. This guy is really good. I haven't been able to grade him officially in all 22, which I think I'm starting to get some Washington tape in there. But Xavier Legette, again, just he's a very versatile piece. It's just get the ball in his hands and get him moving. And to me, that's kind of worth it. It is. So Xavier Legette is the choice there at pick number 45. So we ended up moving back and selecting Dwight McLaughlin. Now we're going to select my number 10 player in the class in Christian Haynes. Damn. I know there's trades in this mock draft, but again, a lot of times players do slip, and you got to take advantage wherever you can. At this spot, I do think we might want to move back. We drafted an edge rusher, Jared Verse, in the first round for the Commanders. You still got Tyler Nubin on the board. You still got Kalen Bullock. You still got Chris Braswell here. Like, there are some super studs that I do want to see get the hell off the board. So, including on my board, you got Tyler Barron, Jermaine Burton, Jacob Cowing, Bo Limmer. Like, there's some really good choices here. You could go back-to-back edge rushers if you do want, but I think we're going to pass in the meantime. We're going to move back and get a linebacker eventually. But looking at the players who are kind of can't miss, Tyler Nubin, Kalen Bullock, TJ Tampa. So a team that's looking for a boundary corner. I'm trying to find one. I know a lot of people don't like the idea, but I do think that a boundary corner is a good idea for the Falcons for the long run. It saves you money. The Steelers, I do think, based on the fact we moved back, we do have the capital to move back up. The Cardinals, it's a range. It's a very far range, but for a team like this, I mean, you're pretty much not really in the range of anything that is valuable. You look at the tackles. You got Blake Fisher here. You got Javon Foster. I think Troy Fautonu is an interior offensive lineman. Restudied Patrick Paul. He got better, but he ended up being from a UDFA to a 6th-round pick for me. I just don't think he's good. Got to put it up like that. But maybe, I don't know if anybody's willing to pay the price to move up to this spot. Are there any teams that are dying for a safety? No. Oh, the Steelers. That would be a good pick for the Steelers, actually. That's actually what I'm going to do. The Steelers are going to get a little bit aggressive here. We have that extra pick right there. So for this, we are going to be moving up 9 spots. For 9 spots, I think we're going to do a pick swap. We're going to get 151 in return for pick 87. So we're technically taking away from the Steelers, in this draft, one of our picks, but that is A-okay. We're moving up and selecting Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota. Now we have Kingsley Suamatea, who I actually studied yesterday. And I love all the traits that I'm seeing, but he belongs at right tackle. So, luckily enough, we're going to put him back to the position that he should be in. Now we have Tyler Nubin, who's a superstar safety. And then he's going to be a great pairing there with Minkah Fitzpatrick, too. And then we also have a star right tackle. So, overall, we're doing a good job. Pick number 47 for the Rams. I do think that linebacker and defensive back are going to be the moves for me. And we ended up in the first round going offensive line with Graham Barton. Here we are going TJ Tampa. I do think Kalen Bullock's the better value, but at corner, at the end of the day, it's a little bit thinner in this class than what I'd like to admit. At pick number 48, so ruffled some feathers by taking Dallas Turner, who is my number 7 player in the class. There for y'all at like pick number 25 or whatever the number is, because y'all have instant chemistry with Will Anderson. I'm willing to ruffle feathers for that reason. I am willing to. And I'm going actually back to Texas to select Tavondre Sweat to be an absolute space eater on the defensive interior. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. Would have been a great pick here for the Packers, actually, where we're seeing the running backs fall, but this year the running backs don't look like they're doing too great of a job. Mason Smith fell in this. Is it because he's a bad player? And by no stretch. I mean, I like to take him earlier in the first round sometimes. He's developmental, and I think he literally is like around the 50s, 53 on my board. This is a good spot for him. It's just totally super high upside, and he is actually a space eater there at 315. So you're going to have someone with a ton of potential. Mason Smith is going to be a good get there for the Packers. At pick number 50 for the Bengals, we ended up going, forgetting, what did we go with them in the first round? Emeka Egbuka to, just because BPA at that point. Now, at this selection, I would love to go Kalen Bullock. That's not going to be the case. I do think that you could be in the market for a linebacker too, but I'm going to look at the tackles and I'm going to draft Blake Fisher. It's not like you're going to get much of a downgrade. He's a high upside player for sure. I think that a great team for him would be the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to let him grow and develop. But at the same time, you're going to get similar efficiency day one with a ton of more upside. So that's something I really do like about Blake Fisher there. Pick number 51 for the Buccaneers. So we ended up moving up for Keon Coleman. Now, I do want to look at edge and linebacker here. You got Chris Braswell. And for me, I'm sending my money in on Chris Braswell. Now, I do have Xavier Thomas and Tyler Barron above him. However, I blend my board with realism, or with the consensus board. So I do think Chris Braswell might go before Barron and Thomas. But at number 52, this is a good spot for, honestly, either of those two guys that I just mentioned. Other positions that you could note here, I already went J.J. McCarthy for y'all. I'm going to go actually after edge. We're going to do it anyways. And I don't know enough about Muhammad Kamara to be able to draft him, if I'm just going to be honest with y'all. So I'm going to use him as a placeholder here for Xavier Thomas out of Clemson, 265 pounds of pure athleticism. This guy's a freak show. He's going to be one of my guys for sure in this draft class. Just, I'm going to stick my neck out for him. He's an excellent player. And I think I might go to Tennessee and take my number 32 player, Tyler Barron, for the Giants. I'm a big fan of his. I just think that I'm starting to get a little bit of a motor concern. He's sometimes gives up early on reps, even though he's completely dominant on them. So for me, I'm going to let Jordan Birch be the placeholder value for him. It is going to be Tyler Barron, my number 32 player in the draft. Edge rusher and quarterback have been selected. There's no right tackles that I think would be available, and interior offensive line is good value down the board. At pick number 54, we got Denzel Burke in the first round for the Cowboys. Now, I think at this spot, we could look at the first linebackers coming off the board. You got Danny Stutzman here, who's about 240 pounds and hyper athletic. Just a ton of potential here. He is pretty much tied there. I have a group of top guys. Junior Colston's a beast too. And I got to give a shout out to Curtis Jacobs. There's some good linebackers in this class. I'm going to be going Danny Stutzman here, though. Dude who's right down the road, ended up playing here. And he's ended up playing here multiple times because of the Red River Showdown. But he's a good addition. He's consistent. You're going to have a young, athletic, nose to the football type of leader. That's exactly what you kind of want. And, when you get DeMarvion Overshown back, then things will probably start to smooth out. But this is a great way to start. At pick number 55. So we are going to be going after a linebacker in this situation as well. Even though the Cowboys got to select their guy, we're going to select ours, and that's Junior Colson. Junior Colson's much better all around. Danny Stutzman's going to be that really fluid, hyper-athletic freak, but you have a lot more leadership on this side of the ball. Right now, Junior Colson's going to be that leader, and he's going to be a day one impact. He's a solid pass rusher. He can get defensive stops. He's just all around a really good linebacker, and that's kind of what this team's been looking forward to. At pick number 56, we have the Browns. Now, the Browns, Kalen Bullock's here. We're taking him. I don't care who else is on the board. Kalen Bullock is my number 24 player in the class. I'm going to show him the love wherever and whenever I can. So this was part of the trade back with Seattle. We have a pick here also for the Colts. So now we have Christian Haynes. We have Dwight McLaughlin. And now we could even go after a linebacker at this spot. You could look for a longer-term option at running back. I don't think that's a very smart idea. We're going to go defensive interior, and I really like all of the different options that are available, but I want to go for a guy who can drive a center into a quarterback, and that's Dante Corleone. Pick number 58 for the Lions had a small move up to select Leonard Taylor. I do like that. Double checking. Yeah, Leonard Taylor right there. So Leonard Taylor selected. I think positions as wide receiver 1 and cornerback number 1 are still available, and I just don't see it in this class. Looking at the guys on my board too, I don't I have Jason Marshall still listed there. He's going to be bye-bye. he's he's just somebody who I have a lot more faith in than maybe others do. I don't even know if I'm going to consider him for this mock draft, but I don't consider him at this pick. Looking at wide receivers, though, I think A.D. Mitchell would be a really good complement to what you do have already. Other wide receivers of note, I don't really know if there are any more that are built to be a pure X receiver that are performing well. I guess Jalen Polk, I don't know what his stats are. 6'2", 204. That wouldn't be a bad choice. Wouldn't be a bad choice. This guy's been going off. A.D. Mitchell is a very talented receiver as well, but he is, if I'm not mistaken, sub 200. Yeah, 6'4", 216. I'm going to go A.D. Mitchell. I love Jalen Polk, but Jalen Polk is kind of that wide receiver 3 there for Washington. A.D. Mitchell, he has that potential to be a true wide receiver 1. Not saying Jalen Polk can't, but just the odds are a little bit lower. At pick number 59 for the Jaguars, defensive back, there are some good ones who are still available. I mean, looking at him right now, you got Rod Moore here. But what really excites me is James Williams. Just being able to have somebody with that much talent be able to roam around does get me excited. It does. However, I do think I want to opt for the offensive line. And Troy Fautanu, bulky, loves his athletic interior offensive lineman, loves athletic offensive lineman in general, and he's played left tackle, so in case of injury, can also fill in. At pick number 60, this is going to be our first running back coming off the board. I ended up grading Jonathan Brooks. He's a good running back. I don't think that he is RB1 of the class. I'm going to go after Trey Benson, even though Trey also had a pretty poor week, hence why he's falling all the way down to here. At pick number 61, so we've seen the majority of the good players come off the board. We had Jordan Morgan also selected for y'all. Now, I think you could go a linebacker in this situation just to take the upside of Barrett Carter. And it's probably where I'm going to lean. So we're going to go Barrett Carter here. It's one of the teams I'm not a huge fan of drafting for, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I love the Dolphins. They're one of my favorite teams. They're my favorite organization because actually right now I'm trying to apply for some jobs there. But that is beside the point. Just a really good roster all around. Very tough to truly draft for. So feel free to give me some pointers there. Pick number 62 for the Niners. Ended up going after Tyler Guyton in round number 1, who I ended up grading. And, you know, he has a lot of talent, but I actually have very similar concerns with him as I do with, why am I tripping? The Alabama right tackle. Where are the Bills at? They drafted him. J.C. Latham. So there are concerns there. The corners available, like I do like Kalen Carson. This would be a solid pick, but I just think that Bo Limmer, and again, he's not even listed, so I don't want to give any love. We'll give love to Tate Ratledge. Tate Ratledge is going to be my placeholder for Bo Limmer, my number 30 player in the class. So, you know, he's a versatile center/guard prospect, and I think that's something that could be very coveted there by the 49ers. Next, we have the Chiefs, who got the amazing wide receiver out of LSU, Malik Neighbors. He fits the role that you guys are looking for perfectly. He's pretty much a combination of Mecole Hardman as well as MVS. Now, for the rest of this draft, we don't have to worry about wide receiver, but I do think Ruka Roroho could be a really cool choice. But I'm going to go McKinley Jackson. He's 320 pounds, and he moves similar to Kalijah Cansey. Not on that level, but for 320 pounds, he moves like he might be 300 or 290 pounds. So McKinley Jackson is the choice. At pick number 64 for the Eagles, I do think this is where we could go after a linebacker. Finally, hallelujah. The guys who are available, there's a lot of really good ones. I love Curtis Jacobs. Big fan of his. Looking at his build, I want to double check. 240 pounds, 6'1". That's perfectly fine for me. Again, you're kind of adding him into the rotation with Nicholas Morrow. And he's not going to be a pure Mike. There's not those 250-pound studs. Cedric Gray, somebody who I would like to mention in that category. But Curtis Jacobs just has something to him. I really do love Curtis Jacobs, and he's going to be a good addition here for Philly. I want to double check that I did not take a linebacker earlier, and I didn't. I took Princely. So it's in Princely. Oh, I was hoping all these teams were green. We got Princely. We got Curtis Jacobs, and then we also have Troy Franklin there for the Eagles. At pick number 65, we got the full run getting ready for the Cardinals here. But this position, we ended up already dressing wide receiver with our move up into the first round. With the edge rushers available, I actually really like Steve Linton for this team. I think Steve Linton would be a good fit. He's a little bit lighter, if I'm not mistaken. He looked like about 235, and he is. But man, this guy has some really special moves. And funnily enough, it made Patrick Paul look like a complete loser. So whenever that happens, it makes me happy. I'm just going to call out my bias where it is. Steve Linton's a very good player. He doesn't have an official grade, but I watched him the entire game, and he does pop off. He's a very, very good edge rusher. At pick number 66, so we've selected Braylon Trice. We've also selected Kool-Aid McKinstry and Chris Jenkins. The defense is pretty much damn near fixed. Looking at the positions that we could address now, I do like Cooper Beebe. I think people are just going to be crying for some Cedric Van Pran action up in this piece. So that's exactly where we're going to go. Cedric Van Pran. Get a center who can also be a guard. A lot to like about Cedric, but at the same time, I am a bit concerned with his overall ability to, I don't know, there's just something about his game that doesn't fully translate to the NFL. But there are some really good traits that I do like. At pick number 67 for the Bears, we've already gotten a left tackle with Garrett Bowles as well. Forgot to mention that. That's a big plus. You got Garrett Bowles, you got Marvin, you got Brock, you got Chop. So there's not really much more that you need on this team. Now it's more luxury pick than anything. Look at the interior offensive line. Cooper Beebe's right up that alley. And maybe you could test him out at center. Zach Frazier is a good player as well. Not going to crap on him. We're going to go Cooper Beebe, though, because I do think that's a massive addition. Another player that we could try to target. I mean, at this point, what about Joe Milton being a backup? Why not, right? I mean, I know a lot of people like Tyson Badgett, but there's something different about Joe Milton, and this is where I'm going to take him. So the Bears, they get a quarterback. Lo and behold. I'm going to put that definitely in the title because SEO-wise, Bears titles just usually do better. If you're wondering why Bears are in the title all the time, it's because I want more of y'all to be able to go see it. And, it does make business sense to talk about what happens in the draft because that is technically, based on the percentage-wise, they're roughly, 1/16 of the video, 2 out of 32 for those of y'all who are trying to do the quick mental math. Pick number 69, nice, for the Cardinals. We got Cedric Van Pran. And then we also pretty much have the whole defense damn near fixed. I do think a linebacker is not out of the question now. And looking at the guys who are available, I'm going to project Jeremiah Trotter to go back to school at this point. I just don't think he's very, very good at all. I just don't like him that much. I just got to call it out. I really like Cedric Gray to be a standard baseline linebacker. Smail Munden, solid. Same thing with Jamon Dumas Johnson. Tommy Eichenberg's up there. I do think it's a position we could go, but I'd rather go wide receiver at this point. And I think this is a good time to go Jalen Polk. I mean, he was right down there in Arizona a couple weeks ago. Like, that's a good spot to target. Jacob Cowing just doesn't fit the style. Let's go Jalen Polk. I know I still have my favorite wide receiver in Jermaine Burton here, but he's like 6 foot and 200 pounds. Speaking of a team that Jermaine Burton could be really good on, this would be a good team for him to go to if we did not draft a wide receiver earlier. So, unfortunately, the Patriots, again, I want to shout out Shedeur Sanders. I do not have him coming out in this because that's just one of my little rules there is that if I have Caleb coming out, Shedeur does not. Because I also swap back and forth whether Caleb is coming out or not. So, at this point, I might be doing a trade down. The quarterbacks who are left on the board, I know a lot of people are big fans of Jaden Daniels. I just don't know if I could trust him at the next level. And, Cam Ward, really like him too. But I'm not fully sold yet either. So for me, I think this is a great opportunity to get out of this position. There are still some very talented running backs that are on the board. Brendan Rice is a good player as well, but also you got Zach Zinter here, who I do want to get off the board ASAP. He is a top 60 player on my board at number 54. So looking for teams that could be in the mood for a guard. I do see the Steelers as an option, but we've already kind of depleted our capital, so to speak, in that realm. I do think we could move up here with Arizona. Like, we just got a center. We could end up just getting a guard and going BPA. We have all the picks in the world. Why not? Look at all these picks. We aren't going to be able to sign all these players. So I think for this, it might take pick 133 to move up the compensatory. Again, you could do your own negotiating at that point. But we are moving up here for Zach Zinter, star right guard out of Michigan. So now we have a fully revamped interior of the offensive line too, which is a very good start. For the Packers, I was talking about running backs. We got plenty of them. And, Marshawn Lloyd has a ton of potential. Bucky Irving's a superstar. I love Bucky Irving. I do. I just don't know if a lot of people are going to love him the way I do. We're going to go Braylon Allen here. So I just think I don't have Braylon Allen very highly or very high on my running back rankings, but I grade a running back all around. For certain systems, it's pretty logical. If a system values someone of pure power who could be a ball carrier 25 times a game, it's different than a team that's looking for a scat back or looking for somebody who's going to be a 3-down back, but is a lot more versatile rather than hard-nosed football. The Packers have always been hard-nosed football. I've loved Braylon Allen. It's a really good fit to him as a late second, early third-round pick. I think it's been a great spot. Now, again, overall as a running back, I don't have that same faith in him, but in this system, I do. And I think that's the big difference. Pick number is 72 for the Steelers. I do want to go after a linebacker eventually. I'm going to say Jeremiah Trotter Jr. returns. I don't think he's that good. I do like Peyton Wilson. I think that's a guy who I could end up sending here. But right now, we have a right tackle and a safety on roster. Could look at the corners. Kalen Carson's now starting to become more of a viable option for me. And I am a little bit tempted by it. I will be honest. I am a little tempted. The running backs, I think Marshawn Lloyd or Bucky Irving would be such good Steelers. But I just don't see us drafting one until later on. So it's unfortunate, but you could also go interior offensive lineman here. Like, there is Zach Frazier, but I would really not want to go Zach Frazier this early. Therefore, I am going to be actually going after the linebacker route. And we are going to be going after Peyton Wilson, my number 42 player in the class. So Ben Bywater, you're going to be the placeholder for him. It is going to be Peyton Wilson right here at number 42 on my board. At pick number 73 for the Chargers, I want to double check what we have done for LA. We got Jatavian Sanders. We still need to get some D-line help here. And I know just the guy to go for that. Ruka Rorho. He is an edge defensive interior hybrid at 295 pounds. He's my number 40 player in the class. It's tough to find a spot for him because he's not dedicated one or the other. Pick number 74, Patriots. This was part of, I believe, one of our move backs in the past round. Pretty sure. I don't know. What the hell happened with the Patriots here? I'm forgetting why they have a third-round pick from Tennessee, but y'all can clarify that down in the comment section below. The only thing I care about is that we have a third-round pick. So we have already drafted a wide receiver. Or did we? Oh, we did. Lamau. We ended up trading back here with the Zach Zinter trade. So we already have Olu Fashanu. We already have Xavier Legette. Now, other positions of note, I do think at this point a linebacker might be worth it. And I think Tyron Hopper as a blitzer would be I would love to see how Bill Belichick uses this guy. He is just so versatile. His one issue is missed tackles, but I feel like Bill Belichick's one of the few guys who could really hone in on that tackling issue. This guy's a missile to the ball. He is fun to watch. He's one of the best pass rushing linebackers that you can find. So Tyron Hopper is the choice. At pick number 75 for Seattle, we've already gone and moved up after Jerzon Newton. And I don't think we had a pick in the last round. No, we did not, because that was sent to Indy. Now at this pick, looking at the other choices that are available, I would be open to a quarterback. And I think at this point, I'm going to be going after Cameron Ward. Cam Ward out of Washington State. He's had some struggles this year, but he's also been, at the same time, had some amazing plays. I'm going to be betting on this team being able to maximize those best plays and minimizing those worst. Pick number 76, linebacker is not a need on this team. Brian Asamoah and Ivan Pace Jr. are the future. We got a DB in Josh Newton. We have a quarterback in Michael Penix. Looking at the edge rushers that are still available, I'm not that high on Jack Sawyer, but he probably will go sometime in here. That's tough. That is tough. I don't think that you need to address many other positions. I love Xavier Worthy's value as a late second round pick. I just don't think. I thought I like Tank Dell more than Xavier Worthy. I'll put it that way. But Xavier Worthy might be just too good to pass on at this point. So he's going to be our wide receiver 3. He's the best player available. Pick number 77, we already have gotten a boundary corner. We've gotten a right guard. And then what did we also get? A defensive interior. That's a really good combo. That's a good combo. So, looking at this selection, I don't think this team needs that much. I'm always overly high. Pause. I'm always extremely high on. That didn't make it sound any better. I am a big fan of the Colts. I normally overestimate where y'all are going to end up. I am going to give you my number 29 player in the draft, Jermaine Burton. So we're going to use Jamari Thrash as a placeholder value, but it's going to be my number 29 player, Jermaine Burton, just to give you a superstar dynamic weapon. So there you go. Enjoy. At pick number 78, we still have Patrick Paul on the board, but I'm going to go Javon Foster. He has a ton of potential, and he just doesn't fully realize it enough, but he's well worth taking a swing on at 78. I have him at number 51 on my board. But for the Rams, we ended up going after a DB, I think. And did we go TJ Tampa for the Rams? We did. So we got TJ Tampa and Graham Barton. We have an amazing player who I have in my top 60, and James Williams, who's going to be a massive addition to this team. Big fan of that. At pick number 80, we're back with the Cardinals. And looking at the guys who are still available, I want to go after a running back at this point because that's just the best value. And Marshawn Lloyd essentially he's going to be here because of the fumbling issue. This guy does not know how to not fumble, but he's essentially going to be DeAndre Swift. I'm a big fan of Marshawn Lloyd. I have him at number 37 on my board, but he's making me regret it every single day of my life. Regardless, at number 81 for the Jets, the quarterbacks that are still available, I'm not fully sold on. Again, Shadur returning. So for me with this pick, I'm actually going to go after another linebacker than the ones that are listed. We're going to let Jalen Ford be the placeholder because we're just going to be nice. But it's Edifon Olufosho out of Washington. This dude is an absolute run-stuffing monster and well worth this selection. Pick number 82. So we have Blake Fisher, and we also, I keep forgetting what we took in the first round. What did we do for the Bengals in the first? We ended up getting, why did I just go past it? Emeka Ibuka. So wide receiver as well as right tackle. Now, I still think DB could be a position that we do target, but at the same time, we don't really need to. I think we want to go best player available here, and that's Donovan Jackson out of the Ohio State University. You might as well get someone who has a ton of potential who's going to be a lockdown player for you. At pick number 83 for the Rams, I'm debating going after another defensive back because I just think that's the best value that is on the board. You do still have some great players here, and so I will go Tyleik Williams, who's 330 pounds, absolute freak show. I've taken him in the first round. I really like Tyleik. It just depends. He can either go in the first, he can either go in the third. It's going to be a big range as to whether people really love his game. Pick number 84. I'm going to test this out. I really like the fact that y'all have, what's his name? Clark Phillips on your team, and I think he's going to be a great slot. I don't know why they don't have him listed because that is absolutely sacrilegious. However, my number 63 player, Chris Abrams Drain. We're going to use Jason Marshall as the placeholder. Chris Abrams-Drain's going to be selected on this team. He's been playing boundary corner for a hot minute now, and he also is a safety hybrid, can also play in the slot. So you have a very versatile piece there. It's a third-round pick on someone who's well-deserving of a second, so big fan of that. But our next pick at 85, we are actually going to be going after a running back in Bucky Irving. I love Bucky Irving with all my heart. I have him literally sitting here at 59 on my board. A little bit athletically limited, however. He's still going to be a bell cow back. Going to be an amazing steal if he somehow, some way makes it here to pick 85. Pick number 86 for the Cowboys. We've gotten a corner. We've gotten a linebacker. Let's look at the offensive line here. I know people would want me to go Patrick Paul. I am not going to go Patrick Paul. I will sell my left nut before going Patrick Paul. That's just where I'm at. Javian Cohen's a great choice, but I just think it's a little too early to target him. This is not, I'm going to be honest, this is not a good spot to be in. It's not. I'm going to look at the wide receivers, though. There are trades in here as well. I think I might actually trade out of this. Ooh. Oh, I love Jacob Cowing. I mean, he's a top 32 player for me. We're going to go Jacob Cowing. We're going to say we're going to figure out what to do with the slot because Jacob Cowing's going to be going there. We're going to kick. He's going to be a superstar. I love Jacob Cowing. One of the most underrated players I've seen. Looking at that, I think we have all of my players from my top 32. Yes, still have Shadur Sanders on my board. There you go. Not a hater. But looking at it, we still got Jaheim Bell that we could target. Again, Jason Marshall needs to get kicked the F out of here. But, we do need to. We got Julian Pearl, but he's been struggling big time. Regardless, this was the selection that we got from moving up with Pittsburgh. We've already drafted Javon Foster. We've already drafted an edge rusher in Jared Verse. I do think edge rusher is a position we could go after Jack Sawyer and develop him because it's going to be a year until Montez Sweat is up on his contract. And that would be honestly a really good idea. So that's where I'm going to be going. Jack Sawyer here out of the Ohio State University. We're going to go defensive interior here for the Browns because there's a lot of good ones who are on the board. Howard Cross, for example, is an excellent one, but I'm going to go Byron Murphy out of Texas. This dude's just a pressure machine. Big fan of his. Pick number 89 for the Seahawks. What have we done for the Seahawks? We got Cam Ward, and then we moved up for Jerzon Newton. Right. So we got that defense interior locked down. So now, I don't really know much else to go. I think wide receiver is a good position to target. Actually, Brian Thomas at this point is great value. Besides that, I think that's great value at this point. Let's go after it. Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. He's going to be essentially the replacement for. Why am I slipping up on names all of a sudden? But y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm tripping up. But he's going to be a good replacement there for your veteran receiver on the outside. At pick number 90, we've already gone wide receiver. This is a great spot to go Kalen Carson. We're going to go Kalen Carson at this point. Ridiculous value. At pick number 91, we're going to go not too far down the road, and we're going to go DJ James. The only issue with him is his weight, but he is phenomenal. Pick number 92, we got Nate Wiggins on the roster. We have a running back as well. So, looking at the next best move, I think it would be to develop an offensive lineman. There's not some good ones on the board. I will admit that. Not some good ones. And that is no bueno. However, I want to see what they do with Howard Cross. I'm going to see what they do with Howard Cross. 280 pounds. That's a guy who they could definitely fit in right away. RIP to that pick for the Dolphins. But the Niners, we've already gone interior offensive line, right tackle. Now is a good time to go after that cornerback position. And I want to double check that didn't go corner for him already. No, we already went Bo Limmer. We are actually going to go Andrew Makuba, defensive back. So you can put him at safety as well if you want him to. Super versatile out of Clemson. Pick number 94 for the Chiefs. We already went defense interior and wide receiver. I think now is a great time to go Jaheim Bell. Pick number 95. Jaheim Bell would have been a good fit on this team. However, we've already gone defense interior to Tavondre Sweat, edge rusher there with our beloved Dallas Turner. Now, at this spot, wide receiver is still pretty well populated. I'm going to debate. I love Brew McCoy with all my heart. That injury broke my heart. We're going to go Ricky Pearsall. This dude's a beast. He's consistently a beast. Very underrated. Similar to Xavier Restrepo from the U. Someone that people don't really like to talk about, but makes a name for themselves and is going to be on a really good roster. At pick number 96, I don't think there's anybody else in here that I necessarily, besides Julian Pearl, like Rocket Sanders and such, that are not getting the love they deserve. But at pick number 96, we've already gone after Troy Fautanu and a wide receiver 1. But I still think that we could be trying to continue to load up at wide receiver. There's not many positions this team needs. And we just got DJ James as well. Looking at it, Ja'Cory Brooks would be a good addition. But that's a toughie. That's a toughie. I actually really like the idea of saving some money and going after Juice Wells or Malachi Corley. We're going to go Juice Wells here, who's kind of like a running back wide receiver combo. Just obviously has been in the shadow of Xavier Legette. But at pick number 97 for the Eagles, we have a linebacker, we have a wide receiver, we have an edge rusher. Let's go after a defensive back. Looking at the best ones available, I am in love with Javon Bullard. They need a slot, and Javon Bullard as well. Honestly, I'm going to probably put Javon Bullard into my top 55. He is really, really good. Niners, we just drafted a safety / corner hybrid, primarily a corner for y'all. It's a team that doesn't really need that much, but looking at the edge rushers available, Zion Tupuola-Fatui is a very, very high upside edge rusher, and that's what I'm going to take for y'all. There's a lot of rumors of Chase Young, but you all are continuing to bring in guys like Randy Gregory as well, showing a need for some extra edge rush help, and this is excellent value. At pick number 99, I've been ignoring safety this whole time, and lo and behold, you got Jaden Hicks here somehow, some way at pick 99. Enjoy it. And at pick 100 for the Niners, we are going to look at offensive line here. And personally, I think your best bet is to go Javion Cohen here and just get some really, he's a left guard though. I'm going to go after potentially a right guard here in Christian Mahogany. He's just fallen off boards a little bit after his ACL tear, but he is well worth that number 100 overall selection. So here is the recap. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the show as always. See you on the far side.